2 tips on how to not take things so personally in 2020. How many of you guys are experiencing emotions that you never experienced before 2020 because of all these things happening, right? From everything going on with politics and maybe just the whole COVID thing, people staying home, all this stuff, right? Hey, what's up, Sam? Good to see you. Pop in here. We're all fed up with it, right? And it goes to show that a lot of people are just like at an emotional low. And when we feel that way, right? When we feel that, like, when we take things so personally and we're having like all these emotions that are not necessarily serving us, and we're feeling depleted and we're feeling lethargic and we're feeling like just really at a place where we don't want to feel anymore, right? And trust me, I've been here personally, like for, as I grew up, feeling all the emotions, going through battling my own depression, a few years back, like I get it. Like, so this is why I wanted to share with you some tips that have really helped me to navigate this, the trenches in 2020, right? And I did a story yesterday about how, if we really want to tackle these emotions and manage it well, we should all get jobs as referees for sports, right? Because, referees have it like the toughest, right? When spectators are watching, these referees are so susceptible to people throwing negative comments at them, right? They hardly receive any positivity because at the end of the day, the spectators want their team to win, right? They want the people who they're rooting for to win. And whenever referees call shots, and it's not in their favor, they get all the backlash, they get all the comments, they all say like, you should stick to your day job. Like, what, do you not have a pair of eyes? Didn't you see that? Like all these negative things, right? And so when that happens, like they end up becoming immune to the responses from people, right? Their reactions have to be very strong. They have to build this rhino skin, right? The rhino skin mentality to like just even get through their day job, because it could really be emotionally challenging, right? Hey, what's going on, Jay? Good to see you. So I posted that on my stories on how to tackle it, but I'm going to kind of give you guys a short summary of how, to tackle it on your day-to-day, especially for 2020, so you can live, a harmonious, maybe like half harmonious, happy life, right? And I'm always about embracing our inner weirdos and just being our own selves, because when we're trying to live up to this status quo of society, what they throw at us, like it's no wonder we're feeling like really exhausted. We're feeling not ourselves. We're blaming the world, right? When inside we got to fix it ourselves first, so that like it could radiate outwards. We have to fix whatever's going on in ourselves first before we can, bless our kids forward, for you guys who are moms, right? And so let me tell it to you. So why is it like when we go on a drive and people are like tailgating us, we end up like getting like our blood boiled, right? And we're just like, why are they flashing their headlights at me? How dare they, right? And then we start feeling like we're in reactive mode. We want to like start something with them, right? Or maybe if someone doesn't show up to an appointment, they cancel out on you. We're like, how dare they? Like they must think less of me. Like what's wrong with me? What's wrong with them for disrespecting me and canceling last second? Or what about like if like you're trying to talk to your spouse, right, at home, and they're just like not even listening, and you're just like, how dare they? They're totally neglecting me. Like, who are they? Like, what's wrong with them? And right, we're just instantly snapping, right? Yes, inner work first before we can bless others. That's right. So why is it that like us as human beings, right, we end up being in a lot of reactive mode, right? It's because, part of us was wired to do that. But I think because of all these choices that we're making in today's society, like let's get this, like today, do you know how many choices we make every single day that our brain produces every single day on average? Is 50,000 thoughts, right? 50,000 thoughts. Like, wrap your head around that. Like, even, I think it's even more now because of social media and the internet and being online. It might be even more than that. And especially in 2020, we're probably wrapped up in so many more thoughts than 50,000 thoughts, right? And how many thoughts are actually positive thoughts out of those 50,000, right? I'm just going to be conservative, right? It's 10,000 thoughts out of those 50,000 thoughts on average are positive thoughts. The rest of the 80% are filled with negativity, skepticism, criticism, judging others, judging ourselves. And, that goes to show why we're feeling so lethargic, why we feel so depleted at the end of the day, why we feel like, we're not feeling at our joyful moments. It's crazy, right, Jay? Yeah, it's insane. So, we have to be more, we got to really gauge that, right, and be more intentional with what we allow ourselves to accept into our thoughts, right, and how we react. Because if we don't, like, no wonder, like, by our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, we feel not at our best, right? And so I'm going to give you the 2 tips right now to really start, deciphering and not taking things personally, because once you get this, like, your life is going to be like changed. Like, my life today is because I'm more aware of the thoughts that come into my mind and not taking things as personally as I did in the past. Like, I'm living a more harmonious life. My connections are so much deeper and better with others. Like, I'm attracting more positive people into my life, people who are, like, inspiring, and people who actually, like, know my energy out there is to share positivity. So I'm attracting more of that. And I want this for you too. If you guys are stuck in that place where you feel like everything is like spiraling downhill in 2020, hopefully this helps you. So and I took notes here too, just so I don't leave anything out. So the issue is, like, when the ego takes over. This is all about our egos, right? When the ego takes over, and we start thinking in a way that, like, we feel like people are wronging us, or we feel like we crave that desire to be right. Like, I'm right. Like, how dare they, right? The ego takes over, right? And I think that's simple enough to say, right? And it drains our energy, right? And we feel crazy at times. Like, we feel like the world is against us. We feel like we're attracting more of the same negative energy. We feel defeated at the end of the day, right? And so when, on the flip side of that, when we actually, take personal responsibility of our, like, what's happening around us, and not being in reactive mode, just like my kids, for instance. Like, I have a 7-year-old, right? He throws tantrums all the time, right? But I don't, like, react to it anymore, because I can empathize with him, right? I can actually see that, like, where he's coming from is a place where he can't really express himself, so he has to do it through anger, right? And so when we do realize that it's our own personal power that we're giving away when we react negatively and we take things personally, then we start being in awareness mode, right? We start observing our thoughts more, because we're like, wait a minute, I totally gave my power away. Now I feel depleted. Like, what the heck, right? And so when you start taking personal responsibility, like, this is when more connections happen, like, that are meaningful, when you start feeling better about yourself, more joy. What's up, Emilio? How's it going? So the real question to ask is, do I really always want to be right all the time, or do I want to be happy, right? And now I know some of you guys are going to say, well, I know I'm going to be happy when I'm right all the time, right? That's just the way it is with some people, right? And I'm not here to argue. Like, if that's your jam, that's your jam. But I know when I'm always trying to be right and it's all about me and my feelings, I'm not in a happy place. Like, I literally start feeling like, oh, what the hell was all that for? Like, I tried to prove myself to be right, and at the end of the day, I don't feel good about myself, okay? So the question is, like, do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy, right? And so I like to see it in 2 coins, right? On one side of the coin, side of the coin, it's heads, right? And it's not about me, right? Like, when something happens where you feel like let's just say in our world of business, when we're sharing our business with other people, right? And you get the no's, right? That no might sting, right? Or the rejections might sting, or the people that don't want to talk to you, or maybe people that are blocking you, or maybe when you're going live on video and you don't get the number of views that you necessarily want, right? We take things personally, right? Or when people are just, like, hopping off your live or whatever, not giving you your likes on your post, like, what the heck? Like, how come no one's liking my posts, right? So it's got to be, you got to revert that or convert that to, it's not about me, right? You got to see that maybe the other people have their own stories, right? You got to give those people empathy, because those people that are not necessarily giving you what you want, right? It's because it's their story, right? You have to give them empathy that they didn't come from the same place that you come from, which is why their story is the way it is, right? And that, like, they probably, came from another upbringing, right? So you got to really have that empathy. It's all about emotional intelligence at this point, like, when you practice the art of empathy, not only empathy to others, but when it starts with yourself, giving yourself grace and empathy, then you'll see that, like, even in the midst of people lashing out at you, even in the midst of you, like, people canceling out on you, you start creating a new story, right? A new story that serves you, but a new story story that also serves the other person, because now you have empathy behind that, right? And I love what one of my mentors, Bob Heilig, shares. It's about red light stories or green light stories, right? You want green light stories. You want to create green light stories for every situation in your life. It's almost like people say, well, that means I'm brainwashing myself. Like, I'm telling myself fake stories. But dude, humans are the creators of their own stories, right? And their own future. You might as well create positive ones to serve you, right? So when people are not showing up, or when people are lashing out at you, or when people are doing things that are not in your favor, now you're not saying, now it's not all about you and your feelings and you wanting to be right. It's you giving that green light story about having compassion and empathy, thinking, wait a minute, this person, you know, maybe this person like had a rough year or something. I got to give them grace. Maybe this person is watching too much negative news, and maybe that's why they're feeling the way they are, right? And so now they're lashing out on everyone because, you know, their circumstances right now and the way that they're viewing life is because of what they went through, right, in the past how many years. So now it's at a place where you get your own power back, because you're not in reactive mode negatively. You're now like in a place of understanding and actually loving humans again, right? And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like when we end up starting to have those positive thoughts for us, like we're serving humanity at the end of the day, right? So that's the first one, right? Shift your focus from me to we, right? Not about me, myself, and Irene, like that movie, right, with Jim Carrey. It's all about me to we, right? So if you can grasp that in your daily and wake up every day, like giving yourself a pep talk. I like to like start my day with gratitude and prayer and giving myself a good pep talk of wisdom. Like, okay, today I truly want this day to be like amazing and beautiful. How does that look like? I will choose to see people for who they are and give them empathy at the end of the day. No matter what I do, I'm here to impact people. I'm here to show up as my best self. And if people hate it, they hate it. Like, sorry, I got a call from someone right now. Lynn, if you're watching this, I will call you back. That was my bestie. So the second on the second side of the coin, the second tip I wanted to share is that when we take things personally, when people are saying things about us, it probably is about us. Like, so it is about me, right? It's about really having an inner revolution first, like, and realizing that like when we feel insecure about things, like it's probably some inner work that we need to work on, which is why I'm such a huge proponent on personal development every day. Like I literally have to do that to keep growing in my adulthood, because we have work to do, right? Like the things that we experience, the feelings that we're feeling today, the emotions probably that we're feeling is probably because of our childhood, childhood challenges and stories that we haven't really blessed and released yet, right? We haven't really forgiven ourselves, right? And all comes back to empathy, but we have a lot of inner work to do. So when it's all about us, maybe like, or when we experience that side of the coin, we got to really look inside of ourselves. Like, what work do we need to work on? Like, if someone's saying like you're late all the time, like you don't just bless and release it and say like, oh, that's just their story, right? We have to kind of look at ourselves and kind of be open to that kind of criticism to actually grow from it, right? Like, wait, maybe there's a reason why they said that about me. Instead of lashing out, like we can actually see it as a blessing, so that we can look at ourselves in the mirror and we can grow from that, right? And question ourselves, okay, what is it that I need to work on to become the best version of myself, right? And that's another positive aspect, right? So I think especially in 2020, a lot of people are just in this place of wanting to do right and wanting to speak up for what's right? But I think most of the time it's like we need to fix ourselves and have an inner revolution first and really get deep down to the dirty and ugly parts of our life that we don't necessarily, we're just kind of like shooing under a rug and dusting under a rug. And that's when we start, having empathy for ourselves and realizing we're not our past, right? We're not who people said we were in the past, but we can certainly fix the things that we can be working on, building our skills, right? Especially in network marketing. If you guys are watching this and are in direct sales network marketing, that's why I love what we do, is because we come out a better human being from it, right? Yes, the pay is great, but literally it's a personal development, trapped in a pay plan where we're literally becoming better humans out of it, building better characters, right? And inspiring others to do the same. So I hope you guys got value to this, because I know for every single day, like, I teach my children the same thing, and I give empathy to them, because like right now, like, they're learning from school and they're still learning the ropes of how to handle, their tantrums at home. But I'm so blessed to be aware now more than ever of how to handle this, especially as a business owner, and teaching and inspiring other women to do so. And so I hope you guys got value to this. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And remember this, like, before you guys hop off, your value is not measured from what people say at you. Like, take a $20 bill. You can crumple it, you can put it in your mouth, you can wet it. The value is still there, no matter how much it's been trampled on or crumpled or whatever, right? So never allow other people or the outside circumstances to diminish your value, because you are more than a conqueror. You are enough. You're God's highest form of creation, and you need to know that. Like, really get that seated in the, seated and grounded in your heart, because your value is immensely more than the opinions of others. You have a purpose here to, impact so many people more than you know it, especially in social media. So do not ever diminish that because someone else said something else about you. Have an awesome day. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. Have an awesome day. Stay blessed, and let me know what you took away. All right, take care. God bless.